Whoa, good day, hi, and welcome. Okay, so Bushcraft 101, here we go. I don't know if anybody else is. I've got my trapping 101, but I got Bushcraft 101, and you learn and my face, no. A lot of people, you know, if they watch my trapping 101, you're going to pick up little stuff that I do all the time. The Bushcraft one, the nice thing about the Bushcraft one is I can do it all year round, but during fly season, which you know, the winter's been long enough now, I'm ready to complain about flies, but you know, to warm up and complain about flies, and I'm sure I won't disappoint. I like to complain. It's a Canadian pastime to complain about things. We're good at it, you know. You know, as long as you complain politely. But I guess one of the first things I was talking about will lead into this, and that was just, you know, just getting out into the bush, you know what I mean? Into the bush, yeah. But the second thing is, like, a lot of people get into this bushcraft stuff and they do all this extreme stuff, right? And that's how you get hurt, that's how you get sick, all that stuff. And the number one thing is, if you sweat, I guess like Les Stroud would say, if you sweat, you die. I've always said, if you're walking along, whatever, especially when you're not used to it, like now I'm used to it because, you know, I've been, you know, basically coming back in the bush every day for, you know, 4 or 5 months now, you know what I mean, by foot. So yeah, my legs are built up pretty good. I'm not huffing and puffing as bad as I was, but you do hear me huff and puff quite a bit. It is labor intensive, which means you're probably going to start to sweat at some point, especially if you're layered up, because it's hard to, like right now it's nice with the sun, but that wind is cold. Like, I mean, it gets very cold with that wind very quickly. So you can go from hot to cold very quickly. Now if you're sweating, obviously you get convection, right? So radiant, right, where basically the wind blows on you and it basically sucks away your heat, right? It just sucks it right away from your body. You lose most of the heat from your head and your crotch, I know, and your armpits. Those are the areas that store the most heat. But if you're getting hot and you have a toque on or something like that, like I'm already starting to kind of huff and puff, but I just go at a pace that I can keep it, you know, okay, slightly elevated heart rate, but not enough to sweat, you know. So this is where the more out of shape you are, or the less used you are to walking on ground that's doing this and sinking and slishing around as you're walking, makes a big difference. And everybody's different. Some people could run through this without breaking a sweat. Other people, they'll make it 10 feet and they're just soaked, right? Again, depends on your health level. So take things in stride, because you don't want to be sick for a week or two when you're trying to get used to this stuff. So pace yourself, figure out what your limits are. Now, if you start getting hot, again, start open, you know, if you're layered up, open up your coat. If you have to take a break, take a break. You know, remove your hat. Even if you're cold, cold is okay. Now mind you, if it's like -40 or something like that, you're kind of, and yes, you can break a sweat in -40. I've done it, trust me. You know, like I don't like the cold, but I can take the cold. Heat I can't take at all, but cold I can take, as much as I hate it, you know. The only cold that is almost completely unbearable is what I call swamp cold, where you're in a swamp somewhere. Anybody that's ever worked in the bush, they know what I'm talking about, where let's say it was like -16 last night, but you go in that swamp and it's so damp and so cold, anything you touch instantly starts burning your hands. Like your fingers will, like, you will get frostbite so fast. It could even be like right around 0, and it's just that swamp cold it's the coldest cold I've ever experienced. You know, it's so damp, chilled to the bone. It's painful. If you have arthritis, you'll hate it. Even if you don't have arthritis, you'll hate it. But you know, there it's like, it's just that you get saturated by the dampness, right? And that gets you kind of clammy and wet and stuff like that. So you got to get out of those kind of areas, because if you don't, that's how you're going to get sick or get hypothermic, right? So hypothermia is a very dangerous thing. So if you're a little bit cold, that's okay. Gonna watch out. Yeah. I could tell you about a video I saw the other day of this massive, I call them mega wolves. Every pack has one. Every couple of packs, not every wolf pack has one, but it's just a wolf that's just abnormally gigantic, you know, like they're over 200 pounds, that kind of thing. And there was one filmed in Saskatchewan. Some guy was walking along and he saw this wolf sitting there and his dog started freaking out, ran over to it. The thing, I swear to God, on the video, just judging by the size of the dog, which would be about the size of my dog Lacey, that wolf from tip to tail had to be 9 feet long. I kid you not. I've seen them about 7 feet long, tip to tail, and that's usually 170, 180 pound. You know, picture a bull mastiff body with Irish wolfhound legs and like this incredibly long tail. That's how big this thing was. I would have been just terrified. It was a mega wolf, you know, like yeah. And it was, of course, the guy, his dog runs over to it, and the wolf, I don't know if the wolf killed it or not, but you hear the dog. Yeah, so like, when that wolf took off there and the dog caught up to him, bad news for the dog. Bad news for the dog. I mean, I can just imagine the jaws on the thing must have been about that long. Would have been terrifying. Yeah, but anyway, getting back to what I was saying. So swamp cold, extremely cold, damp to the bone, you get hypothermic, you die. You run in the bush or whatever. Yeah, the other thing too, and this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, is how you breathe. This is another reason why you want to be calm when you're in the bush, is you might not get cold, you might not even sweat, but if you breathe too much when it's really damp, you will get pneumonia. Maybe I'll save that for the next video. Yeah, because that's an important one. So anyway, if you get hot, open up your shirt, take off your hat, take a break, whatever it is, cool down. Because if you're a little cold and dry is fine. Cold and wet is death. So you sweat, you die. There you go.